Good evening, guys. Ryan again, alongside Caleb. We should have no echo this time. So let us know if there is an echo. If there is, we're going to have a problem, but we should have fixed it. Welcome to the stream, guys. This is going to be a briefing of what's to come this evening for the state of Michigan. Also, take a peek into potential for tomorrow as well. So let us know in chat here if you guys can hear me and also if there's an echo, because let us know right now so we can try and fix this ahead of time. Brooklyn says no echo sounds good. Yes, good now. Okay, awesome, awesome, awesome. All right, let's go ahead and dive into the overall forecast here tonight. So, if you don't know, we are in our technically first bigger severe risk of the year. Now, when I say bigger, it's not a very high risk overall, but it is a risk nonetheless. We're going to talk about here. So, starting with the SPC outlook here, dark green areas. That is your level 1 severe risk. It's called a marginal risk. It extends from the UP, Ironwood, Iron Mountain, down through about Manistee, back through about that, excuse me, Montcalm County, Ionia County area, back to the west side of Lansing, back through about the Hudson area, Hillsdale area, points westward. In the yellow risk, that's level 2, slight risk. That's going to be for places like Kalamazoo, South Haven, or not Coldwater, but just to the west of Coldwater there, Sturgis, Benton Harbor, those areas. Very far southwest corner in Berrien County, we're in an enhanced risk, level 3 out of 5. That's going to be the highest concern this evening, especially in that yellow risk. But again, further south and west there in the orange, that is your enhanced risk that exists just off to our west and to our south across Lake Michigan, as well as northwest Indiana. So what are we talking about in terms of hazards? Let's go ahead and dive in here. First hazard we're going to talk about here is potential for a couple, maybe one or two tornadoes here in the southwest part of the state. And again, that's going to be for that southwest corner we just talked about, from about South Haven to Kalamazoo to about that Sturgis, Three Rivers area back toward Benton Harbor, that general area. It's a low risk, 2 to 4% here from the SPC. There is a small corridor there in red/brown color. We call it a 5%. It's a technically a 5 to 9% probability of tornadoes here within that red-brown area. That's going to be the number 2 concern tonight. Number 1 concern, and really the only concern that we have, or not really only concern, but the second and primary concern, should I say, is going to be for damaging winds here, especially in that yellow area. But also notice there is what we call a hatched black outline area. That is going to be for potential significant wind gust over 75 miles per hour tonight. And that's going to be, again, for the Kalamazoo area, the Benton Harbor area, South Haven, just that general vicinity. But there is a risk for damaging winds that extends all the way up through the southwest part of the UP, all the way over toward that Lansing and toward that, not quite to Mount Pleasant, but close to Mount Pleasant area there in that brown color. So those are the two main risks. Wind number 1, isolated tornado or 2, number 2 threat this evening. Let's go ahead and time all of this out this evening and talk about the ingredients, what we kind of expect to happen. So let's go ahead and back this up here. This is a short-term model that's fresh off the press. This is the 5 o'clock model run here. We're going to run this through. We're dry now. We're dry until about that midnight time frame at the model here. It says midnight. Here is 1 a.m. We're seeing these storms approach us from the south and from the west. All right. This is going to be our concern tonight. This is after midnight. This is 2 in the morning. We're starting to see the storms push up into Berrien County, maybe an isolated storm up there in the UP, but the concern does start around that 2 o'clock time frame tonight. So technically Saturday morning, if you want to be technical about this. So early Saturday morning, 2 a.m. tonight. We're going to run this through again. This is 2 a.m. Let's go to 3 a.m. We're going to start seeing those storms weaken, which is a great sign. And by 4 a.m., it's just some heavier downpours here. Again, some gustier winds, and again, maybe an isolated tornado as these storms first arrive there toward the Lake Michigan shoreline. But as these storms move to the north and east, they're going to run out of instability, and as they do so, it will weaken the storms the further east and the further north it becomes. This should clear out the state here by around by around the 8 to 9 a.m. time frame. This model right here is at 9 a.m. You see that line that has exited the state, and then potential round 2. We're not going to touch on too deep today. Potential round 2 does exist on Saturday afternoon. The SPC already put out a marginal risk. We've been highlighting this on MSC for 3 days now. The SPC finally on board here, putting that marginal risk for Southeast Michigan. Also points of like Kalamazoo back toward Grand Rapids, back up toward the Tri-Cities, points eastward. 2 main concerns there: damaging winds, primary, but also a potential tornado or 2 possible, especially across Southeast Michigan, Hillsdale, Adrian, Monroe, Ann Arbor, Detroit, up toward that just south of Flint area for a potential tornado or 2 tomorrow. So 2 rounds first round tonight, a break for Saturday morning, and then a second potential round coming in for that Saturday afternoon time frame. Do not get the two confused. They are separate risks, separated by a good gap in the morning time frame of Saturday. So with that being said, talk about the ingredients here. What we're going to kind of look at coming together. We look at the four main: shear, lift, instability, moisture, acronym for SLIM. The shear part, this is your shear parameters here. The red colors, orange colors indicating very high shear parameters across the western part of Michigan here. No problem there at all with our shear parameters. Caleb, can you talk about the shape for a second?
Yeah, yep. Our next ingredient on the list is instability. So that is our limiting factor during this event. Like just as Ryan said, we need all the SLIM factors, right? Shear, instability, or shear, lift, instability, and moisture. We have plenty of shear. We have plenty of lift associated with our upper level load that are moving across. But as we look on the instability here, notice how we don't really have very deep colors here. A lot of blues, maybe a little bit of green. So instability is waning a little bit, especially as we go into early morning tomorrow morning, and that'll continue to lessen as we go throughout the night tonight. So that'll help these storms run out of gas essentially as they run across the state. But with that being said, we have an abundance of wind shear present, both in speed shear and directional shear. So what that'll do, that'll allow a lot of these storms as they come across to have the risk for gusty winds. That is the primary risk tonight, is damaging winds. With the highest probability across southwest lower Michigan, Berrien County, Kalamazoo, maybe approaching close to the Battle Creek area and then points westward. But due to the high speed of these storms and showers are going to be moving at 60 to 70 miles an hour to the east northeast. As they do so, they could be kind of relatively slow to weaken a little bit. So we're going to have to watch that trend very closely, especially as we go into the overnight hours, as that could carry a damaging wind or gusty wind threat far eastward into central portions of the lower peninsula of Michigan. So something we're going to have to watch. But again, the highest probability for severe winds, which are 58 miles per hour or greater, are in southwest lower Michigan tonight. And we could have perhaps a gust of significant nature of 70 miles an hour. Not out of the question down there. We'll just have to see how these storms develop in Illinois, how they progress, and how they hold together as they move into an area with lesser instability. So a lot of things to look at here going forward. But with that wind shear comes the risk of a spin-up tornado as well, primarily across southwest lower Michigan. And that's just because the storms will be the strongest as they enter Michigan across southwest lower portions of the state. Basically, Kalamazoo over towards Battle Creek and points westward and along the lake shore is really where we're highlighting here for the best chances of a spin-up tornado. And again, the chances for a tornado are better further south and west you go. Again, more instability, more energy, and fuel for these storms to use. Therefore, they have better tornado parameters down there across portions of Indiana and Illinois, especially. Here's a look at the large-scale picture here. Again, this is not a small system. This is a huge storm system impacting, or with the entire eastern 2/3 of the country really feeling the impacts here from this system. As you can see, areas in deep red, that is a 4 out of 5. That is a moderate risk highlighted by the Storm Prediction Center for damaging winds, some significant, greater than 75 miles an hour, tornadoes, and large hail. Again, as we move further east we go, we have less instability to work with, so that's less fuel for these storms. So therefore, less of a severe risk the further east and northeast you go. So that is something we're expecting here tonight as these storms move into Michigan. Again, it'll be a late night threat tonight, so have multiple ways to receive warnings. The severe risk, no matter how low or high, is always amplified at night. One, because we're sleeping, and two, visibility. It's harder to see these storms coming at night. So have multiple ways to receive warnings tonight if warnings are issued. Again, we'll be here watching radar all night long, and we'll be live as soon as a warning is, or if a warning is issued here in the state of Michigan tonight. So with that being said, we'll go to the comments here to see if we have any questions here so far. Great to see you here. We got Janelle in here, Dawn in here, Molly's in here, it looks like. Great to see you guys. So if you guys have any questions or anything, feel free to put that in the chat. Again, storms look to enter the state roughly around the 2 a.m. time frame across southwest portions of Michigan. And storms may also not exit the state until that 8 a.m. time frame early tomorrow morning. So on your morning commute, whether you're in Monroe County, Saginaw, all the way up to northern lower east of Gaylord, there you may still have some morning showers and thunderstorms to contend with tomorrow morning. Well, whether or not they'll be severe will be something that'll be be determined overnight tonight, but we could still have a few remaining showers and thunderstorms for your morning commute tomorrow.
Also going off tomorrow, a couple questions about tomorrow's risk being upgraded. I do think it's in the realm of possibility we could see a slight risk tomorrow for Southeast Michigan, also parts of Ohio. Even I wouldn't be shocked by that at all to see an upgrade
Yeah.
for tomorrow afternoon's risk.
It really comes down to atmospheric recovery and how round one plays a role into the storms tomorrow afternoon. We really need that atmosphere to recover. We need that instability to build again before the cold front comes through and sweeps that instability away. So, kind of more of a conditional risk tomorrow, but a risk nonetheless. We do expect a damaging wind risk and perhaps a low end tornado threat tomorrow across southeast Michigan, with the greatest risk being across southwest lower Michigan, Monroe, Lenawee, and points north and east of there.
And yes, as Caleb said, for those of you asking, we'll be live tonight as soon if any warnings get issued for severe or tornadic. We'll be live here. We're gonna watch. We're gonna be up all night. Caleb's already got his monster locked and loaded. We're gonna be
Oh, yeah.
we're gonna be cranking the caffeine. We'll be up all night for you guys. So if you happen to be up and you happen to see us live, we're probably covering severe weather. So feel free to join us, keep us company in chat. We don't expect it to be a big night, so to speak. We're not expecting a widespread outbreak by any means, but our job here at MSC is to keep you guys covered beginning to end. Doesn't matter if it's 2, 3, 4 a.m. or 2, 3, 4 p.m. We're going to be here covering it. So we got you guys covered. Again, arrival time. Sorry, arrival time really quickly for those asking. The arrival time in the southwest corner of Michigan is roughly right around 2 a.m., give or take an hour or so. Could be as early as 1, could be as late as 3, right around that time frame. And these storms will move very quickly northeast. So take that into consideration. Time maps have been posted on the page earlier today. Feel free to go back and check that out. In the YouTube chat, moderators can drop that from the link to the earlier forecast. We have a timing graphic there for you guys for the arrival time of these storms. The overall tornadic risk tonight is confined pretty much to southwest Michigan, excuse me, in that green and red area. It could extend a little bit further off than that. Again, it's a 25-mile point, so it could be close to Grand Rapids or closer to the Charlotte area, for example, or Marshall. But if you're close to this green or the red risk, you are in a threat tonight for a brief tornado or two. But the main threat tonight is damaging winds, and that's going to be for the entire state. The risk for tornadoes is lower, but it's also confined to that southwest part of the state. See a super chat in here from Frosty for $2. Thank you, Frosty, for that. Asking about Flint on Saturday. Caleb, what do you think about that?
Yeah, Flint is definitely a non-zero risk for there. I think the larger risk will be a little bit further south and east of you. But again, a lot of it comes down to how the atmosphere destabilizes tomorrow afternoon, what ingredients are in place, and exactly where they fall into place. So again, Flint is definitely not out of the realm of possibility for seeing a stronger storm or two tomorrow. It'll really come down to the overall dynamics that are in play tomorrow. So that'll be something that we'll have to watch going into tomorrow. And it'll be more of tomorrow afternoon as well. Probably after 1 o'clock in the afternoon is when we'll see that resurgence of storms starting to bubble up into the region. So we are a ways out from that. And I think we'll have a lot better of an understanding after round one moves through and gets out of here tonight. But Flint, yeah, you guys could see a stronger storm or two. I think that's possible. Yeah.
Red with a super chat, $20. Thank you, Red, for that. Says, well, this weather blows, no pun intended. Hubby is out in this mess.
You think it blows now? It's going to blow tomorrow.
Yeah, it is. Winds are going to be pretty gusty tomorrow. Thank you, Red, for that. And sending good vibes to your hubby down there, moving through this severe weather. And again, going back to that U.S. map there, the risk for severe weather today is quite large across the U.S. It extends from all the way from Minnesota, Wisconsin, the UP of Michigan, all the way down to the Gulf, with the highest risk there in orange and especially the red zones there. Also tomorrow, if we go back to tomorrow, we have a high risk in place, which is a very rare occurrence for the day 2 period. It's not letting me click it for some reason, but
yeah, in fact, it's only the third time the Storm Prediction Center has ever issued a high risk on a D2 outlook. Normally those are reserved for day 1 events as confidence is gained, on atmospheric recovery, but there is such high agreement upon forecast models that tomorrow could be quite a significant day and also a dangerous day across parts of Alabama and Mississippi that they went ahead and put that high risk out for tornadoes, large hail, and significant wind gusts as well. So if you guys know anybody or have any friends across the South, especially in the pink area, purple area there across Mississippi and Alabama, that's really where the best ingredients are confined there in that corridor. But as you notice, that severe risk does extend north into the Ohio Valley and even the Great Lakes region as well, as a blanketed marginal risk for the entire state of Ohio, nearly the entire state of Indiana, and southeast lower Michigan. So again, severe weather is possible tomorrow. To a lesser extent, further north you go, but a severe weather outbreak is likely tomorrow across Mississippi and Alabama and areas across the South. So a dangerous day ahead down there for sure.
Going back to Michigan, though, got a lot of comments here asking about locations. So tonight, the risk, go ahead and pop that map up back on the screen here. The risk tonight is highest for damaging wind gusts anywhere in that dark green area. The light green area is still in a risk for general thunderstorms, maybe an isolated severe wind gust in that area. Not going to rule
Yeah.
that out, but the risk is definitely highest in dark green, yellow, and orange areas here. And that's going to be anywhere from Ironwood in the UP back down here through Manistee, all the way back through about the Montcalm County area, Ionia County, back through Eaton County, then back through Jackson County as well. Butts into Lenawee there. But again, highest risk there tonight is going to be over in the southwest corner of Michigan. As this line of storms does progress northeastward, going back to the model here, we're going to see that line approach southwest Michigan. Right about here, they'll be at their strongest, but as they move into Michigan, they'll weaken with time. So as by the time they get to like the Tri-City area, for example, Alpena area, it should just be some rumbles of thunder and some heavier downpours. The storm threat, severe storm threat, will be over at that point. But then again, potential round 2 later on Saturdays. Don't let your guard down after the morning.
Yep. And again, we'll probably see a break mid-morning tomorrow morning after round 1 moves out before round 2 moves in tomorrow afternoon. So we'll probably have a break between, let's say, 10 a.m. and maybe the 1 p.m. time frame, and then thereafter we could have some storms bubble up across southeast lower Michigan.
Yep. Is this a sign of warmer, more active severe weather season ahead, or is there potential for another shot of winter? I remember enough April snowstorms in the past to not fully
Oh
trust
yeah.
spring is here. Yeah, there's still a chance of snow, and we have chances of snow all the way into April. It's hard to say, but yes, we still have some snow chances on the horizon. So don't let your guard down there if you're a winter lover or winter hater. We have some snowflakes potential in the forecast, potentially throughout the month of March and also April. And this is a sign really of not really a big sign like, hey, we're kicking off the year with a big event. Not really. Every system's different. Spring, we have a lot of these shear pack systems. We get enough moisture and stability, you get these higher risks. Think back to last year, March 14th. At this time frame, we had an outbreak of tornadoes across India and Ohio. Today looks to be across, Illinois, Iowa, Missouri. Tomorrow will be in the deep south, but this is typical time frame here. We start getting severe risks overall March,
Yep.
April, May. We start seeing that increase here for us in Michigan. So is it a sign of things to come? I mean, you could say, yes, spring is here, severe weather season's here as well. But overall, this isn't really a communicating factor that, hey, this is going to be a big year. Nothing like that.
Nope. It's really just a really typical big early spring system, right? There's a reason meteorological spring starts on March 1st instead of starting on the astronomical seasonal date of March 20th. And that's because, as we enter March out of February and we see that transition, we also see a transition in the climatological patterns, just the overall climate of North America as a whole. We start seeing the changing of the air masses, we start seeing subtle shifts. And this is just a prime example of that as well. As the seasons are starting to change, we start getting deeper systems coming down, mixing with that warmer air out of the Gulf of Mexico. And this storm system, Ryan, if you want to go to a full map and really just show the MSLP map, that'd be great. This system is actually ripping across the plains right now. We have like blowing dust advisories across nearly the like half of Texas and half of Oklahoma. In fact, there's been several pileups just from the blowing dust out there in the plains. And a lot of that is because of our storm system, which is rapidly deepening in pressure as it moves northward here. There's a low that Ryan circles sitting right there in northern Nebraska. Western Iowa there. That's going to continue moving northward through Minnesota and Wisconsin there as it moves north through the UP. But as it does so, it's going to bring our active weather. It also is responsible for our warmer temps today. I mean, the entire state of Michigan saw temperatures at or above 70 degrees today, with a few exceptions near the lakeshore in the UP and the LP as well. But yeah, very unusual for this time of year in terms of temperatures. But hey, we'll take them, right? I mean, it probably felt like a heat wave for most of us after being very cold the last couple of weeks.
I'm sitting
But
here sweating, so.
yeah, I was too.
Got Cindy in here, $20 super chat. We are going to Brighton in the afternoon tomorrow. I do not usually ask, but thoughts. Cindy, tomorrow's risk right now is on the lower end of the spectrum. We have to keep an eye on the moisture instability returns. If we get enough moisture instability, we could very well be seeing an upgrade to our marginal risk tomorrow. So the risk is very real tomorrow. And we have to kind of keep an eye on how tonight plays out to get a better idea for tomorrow. But Brighton would be in the heart of that threat for tomorrow afternoon and evening. And the time frame for that would be after the noon time frame, about 1, 2 o'clock through about the 10 o'clock time frame. Typical afternoon, evening threat. And again, that's going to be a big if we can get instability and moisture to really start ramping up there. That's going to be something to watch throughout the morning tomorrow. And also thank you for your
Yeah,
support.
if you hear the word conditional being thrown around, but don't think of conditional as a downplay. It's really not. Um, you know, conditional really means there's a threat there. We just don't know to what extent. Is it going to be upgraded or not? That's really what we mean by conditional. It's conditional meaning we could have more ingredients to play tomorrow, and we could have less as well. It really depends on how round one evolves. Um, as these storms move out in the 7 to 9 a.m. time frame tomorrow morning. So definitely an area to watch. Definitely not something to disregard tomorrow, as we could still have a few strong to severe storms. It really just depends on how the atmosphere evolves. But the ingredients are there. It's just we don't know exactly what quantities, and we'll know that by tomorrow morning, probably mid morning. We'll have a better idea of how it's going to come together. So as you can see, the marginal risk does extend, including all the way to the thumb. So let's say from about Kalamazoo, all the way, even in the Berrien County a little bit, all the way up to Saginaw. You are in a marginal risk tomorrow, which is a 1 out of 5, but we could see an upgrade to 2 out of 5. It really just depends on how much and what quantity of those ingredients are going to come tomorrow to really quantify that upgrade. But it is possible, so don't think it's not, because it is definitely possible.
I have a couple questions in chat here, Caleb, if we have chasers going out tonight. And the answer is yes. We
Yeah.
have Chandler,
Yep.
we have Ben, we got Drew, we got uh, Cody, we got Chris. We have a plethora of chasers going out. So we will have live feeds for you guys, hopefully tonight, to kind of share with you. And most of them are going to the very far southwest corner of the state. Berrien County is where most of these guys are going. So again, we're going to have you guys covered here with the severe weather threat this evening if one does evolve.
Yep. So eyes on the ground, and then radar coverage with Ryan and I here in studio. We'll have you covered all night long. So we both have our caffeine options ready to go, and we'll be here all night.
Caleb does. I don't drink caffeine.
Yeah. So if my pupils are dilated by morning, it's partly caffeine.
We'll blame the caffeine.
But it's all good. We're here for you guys, so this is what we do.
Yep.
Back to the chat here. When will the rain be starting? Yeah, for those of you just joining in, it's an overnight risk. I know a lot of times it's confusing for people when you see a D1 risk, but you don't get storms until late at night. That's the case today. Storms are firing. They have fired already, but they're far, far away. They're out in the plains, out in Iowa, Missouri. That's where these storms are currently. But as they move, they're going to progress eastward very quickly. These storms are going to be moving at 60 to 70 miles an hour, but it's going to take some time for them to get here. They're not going to get here until that 1 to 2 a.m. time frame. There's a larger view, and that's kind of where they're at now. Missouri, Iowa, and they'll move into Illinois probably over the next couple of hours. But as they do so, they're going to continue to intensify and move this way. They'll start moving into Berrien County, Michigan, and southwest portions of Michigan, probably between the 1 to 2 a.m. time frame. Now, that could vary by an hour or so. Again, these storms are going to be moving very, very quickly, so that could escalate the start times a little bit. But right now, Model has a really good handle on this, I think, and for that 1 to 2 a.m. time frame. After midnight for sure. So after a lot of us are in bed. So this will be a nocturnal risk today. Again, the best chance for damaging wind gusts is in that southwest portion of Michigan. And again, the storms are expected to enter the state at their strongest point. So the strongest storms are expected to be in southwest lower Michigan. And then they'll continue to gradually weaken as they progress eastward across the state. So the tornado risk will likely de-escalate very rapidly as they move. But that damaging wind threat may extend further than that where that marginal risk is now, largely because of the fast storm motion that we have, and it'll also depend on how strong these storms are when they enter the state of Michigan. So I do want to let you know you could have some strong to severe gusts even outside the marginal risk. Mount Pleasant, Ann Arbor, you guys could see some stronger wind gusts here tonight. Again, we'll be here live all night. We'll be tracking it live here for you in case any of these storms do go severe. But even some stronger wind gusts, sub-severe wind gusts are possible. Flint, Saginaw, Detroit tomorrow morning could have maybe some 45-mile-an-hour gusts associated with these showers as well. So
I see
again, wind is the main factor, and tornadoes is secondary. Go ahead.
I see a question in chat here I want to address, asking if this is going to be another May 7th. No, this is a very, very, very different setup than May 7th. May 7th was kind of we're gonna say May 7th was like a league of its own, so to speak, in terms of everything coming together for tornadic supercells. This is nothing like that at all. So this
May 7th had a really favorable environment. Yeah.
Go ahead.
May 7th had a really favorable environment for isolated storms, isolated supercells along a warm front. This is a cold front scenario where we're going to have a fast moving cold front sweep through the area. That's going to bring a line of storms and not isolated supercells. So, again, we have the wind shear like we had on May 7th, but again, we don't have the instability. May 7th had a lot of other variables that we just don't have here tonight. So again, tornado outbreak, not likely whatsoever. Again, when we say a few tornadoes possible, brief spin ups is really what we're talking about, and that is largely confined to southwest lower Michigan, where the storms are at their strongest point. But long-lived tornadoes, not likely tonight at all across Michigan. So shouldn't have to worry too much about that. But again, a spin-up tornado, a brief spin-up tornado, can't be ruled out with the amount of wind shear that we do have.
See Julie's question here in chat, Caleb. Why was dawn in a cold pocket in Monroe of only 58 degrees today? Do you want to explain that?
Yeah, that's a lot of it part of the lake influence off of Lake Erie. We had some backside winds, so a lot of times our warm fronts this time of year, they get stalled out at the lake. So lake influence is huge this time of year. So while a lot of the inland counties were very warm, mid to upper 70s even reported on the west side of Michigan. Temperatures around 77. But those of you near the immediate lakeshore, whether that's Huron, Erie, Michigan, Superior, you guys likely saw some colder temperatures. If we look at our lake temperatures, I just checked yesterday. A lot of the lake temperatures, water SSTs, are in the 30s. Again, we had ice on them just a few days ago, and there's still pancake ice on a few of the lakes. So again, our waters are very, very cold, but that also cools the air around it, right? We talk about adiabatic cooling, right? That cold air, that warm air goes over the water, and when it goes over the cold water, it cools down and it sinks, and it comes down near the surface, cooling the land around the lakes. Basically like an air conditioner, right? Your air conditioning was on in the atmosphere if you were near the lakes today, keeping you colder than what was probably forecasted. So that's a reason why some of you guys never really reached your high temperature, just because of the lake influence there. So if those of you got hot today and went to the lakes and dipped your toes in, you know exactly what I mean. That water is cold.
All right, going back to the risk tonight, I see a couple other things here. Tangi, $1 super chat. Thank you, Tangi, for that. I see Red Dozer gifting 10 memberships, so thank you, Red, for that. Let's go ahead and skip that down through this. I want to address the evening threat tonight. Again, this is going to be a low-end risk tonight. The risk is highest in that yellow zone you see in the very far southwest corner of the state. Damaging winds is going to be the primary concern tonight, although a risk for a brief tornado or two is possible, especially in that green and red areas or close to them. Would not be surprised to see a brief spin up or two possible as these storms arrive just after the 2 a.m. time frame or around the 2 a.m. time frame. So we'll keep an eye on that. But overall concern on a scale of 1 to 10 tonight, probably a 3 or a 4. It's not a very high concern. The risk is only level 1, level 2 in the state, so out of a scale of 5. So it's not a very concerning overall risk, but it's there nonetheless, and that's why we're here communicating it to you.
Yep, again, to go over the risks, I mean, damaging winds is the primary risk. 60 miles an hour with a few occasional gusts, especially across southwest lower Michigan. When our storms are at their strongest point, you could have a stray gust of 70 miles an hour or so. Again, that's largely because of how fast our winds are aloft. You go up a few thousand feet, those winds are racing. So some of those stronger storms may bring some of that stronger winds down to the ground, which is why the SPC went ahead and put a hatched area in, which is a chance of 74 miles per hour or greater probabilities within that hatch zone. And that does include southwest lower Michigan, places like Benton Harbor, Kalamazoo, getting fairly close to Battle Creek, but you guys may just be on the outskirts of that. But again, damaging winds, primary spin up tornado is possible as well, mainly across southwest lower Michigan, Berrien County and surrounding counties immediately. So but Ashley, I do expect the tornado risk to decrease as we go east.
Ashley asks, what is a brief spin-up tornado? So Ashley, a brief spin-up is a tornado that happens very quickly. It's usually a weaker in nature tornado. And they usually occur in line segments, like linear lines, like QLCS segments. Like we have these squall lines pushed through. They come up very quickly. They spin up very quickly. That's why we call them brief spin-ups. They usually have them very brief, and they're usually pretty weak in nature.
Yep, they're very shallow, so typically they're short-lived. They don't last very long, but they spin up quickly, and they're on the weaker side as well. Generally, they're not strong tornadoes, but a tornado nonetheless. Tornadoes can pack a punch, so treat them seriously if we do have any tonight.
And Ashley asks, you said brief tornado. Does that mean it would be likely be on the lower end of a tornado rating if one were to occur? Yeah,
Generally speaking.
it would be generally speaking a weak tornado, but every tornado needs to be taken seriously. They do damage just the
Yep.
same. Obviously, at
Yep.
EF4, EF5, they're going to do a significant damage, but still, they're all of them are dangerous. No matter if it's EF0, EF1, EF2, doesn't matter. They're all dangerous, so take them seriously.
Yep. Unlike straight line winds, where think of it like a steamroller, you have a lot of other mechanics at play during a tornado. You have different motions in the atmosphere with a tornado that you don't have in straight line winds. So where the winds are blowing one direction in straight line winds, with a tornado, you have mechanics moving in all directions. You have a lifting mechanism, you have a rotational wind speed as well as forward motion. So you have several things at play during a tornado, which make them, more dangerous than straight line winds. But if we do get let's say we do get a significant wind gust tonight to 70 to 75 miles an hour, that's equivalent to an EF1 tornado. So again, straight line winds can be a risk of it itself. But again, widespread severe weather not expected. We're not expecting a severe weather outbreak tonight. Generally confined to southwest lower Michigan has the greatest risk for seeing severe weather tonight. But gusty winds could continue across the entire state of Michigan overnight tonight and into tomorrow morning.
What time does the SPC update? That would be around 9 p.m. if not mistaken tonight. That'll be
Yep.
the last update. Is Washtenaw County okay for tonight? I mean, you can say they're outside the risk, but I would not be shocked to see a stronger wind gust or two, especially after the 4
Yeah.
or 5 o'clock time frame. Tomorrow afternoon, a secondary risk may occur, so do pay attention to tomorrow's outlook. How tomorrow plays out will depend on how tonight plays out. Also, I saw a comment I want to address in Facebook. If you're watching on Facebook and you want to be notified anytime we go live, type in an exclamation point and then the word notify. That's what we're telling our people to do here on Facebook, and that'll notify you anytime we go live through the Facebook app. So, again, if you're watching on the Facebook platform, exclamation point, the word notify, all one, there's no spaces. If you're on YouTube as well and you're subscribed to the channel, which is free to do, you can also click the notification bell. That will also get you notifications anytime we post a video or go live as well. Can you show the radar through the night, please? I'm about 5 minutes behind on comments, guys, so I apologize. I can do that real quick. Timing it out, we'll go ahead and time this out hour by hour for you guys. So this right here is 2 in the morning. All right, let's go ahead and go to 3. Let's go to 4. Let's go to 5, 6. About sunrise time frame, these storms are about to push out of the state. 7, there's 8, and then there's 9. By the time we get to 10 o'clock or so, we're completely clear. But again, a second round of storms possible for that Saturday evening time frame. Saturday afternoon, evening, should I say? Not just evening, but afternoon as well.
Yep, generally the 1 to 8 p.m. time frame. We're probably losing stability as the sun goes down and the cold front moves through. But hey, sunset alert across Michigan there. We got some alto cumulus moving in, some mid-level clouds there, even some cirrus clouds up there too. So makes for a beautiful sunset for sure. Let us know what you see.
All right, I'm going to skip comments, guys. I'm about 6 minutes behind on these, so if I apologize if I missed you. I see a $10 super chat from Gas Reacts, says, grab some coffee tonight, boys. Will do. I know Caleb will be. I will be going off pure natural energy and adrenaline. So I think appreciate that, Gas. Adrenaline, I guess so. Southeast Michigan, no real concern tonight for tornadoes. More so a damaging wind threat, although the risk is much highest over in the west part of the state. Wouldn't rule out a strong gust over there in southeast, but again, much higher risk for that across the state. A lot of you guys taking advantage of that notify. Love it. Love it, love it, love it.
Yeah, love to see it for sure.
Okay, a lot of the chat here is just notifying. Love that, guys. All right, we're caught up. We are caught up. Perfect. If you have friends or family who live in Indiana, Caleb and I will be beginning our operational live stream on our Indiana account. It's called Indiana Storm Chasing Network. It is a black logo with red text with ISCN in the middle of it. Feel free to send family and friends who live in Indiana that direction. We'll be live probably before Michigan. But once Michigan goes severe, if it does go severe, we will switch over and take over Michigan operations. But we're, of course, going to cover Indiana when we can, when nothing's happening here in the state. So if you want to watch, join us. If you have friends and family, would appreciate you guys direct them that way. Bradley says, I missed the squeaky chair, Ryan. We're not going to talk about the squeaky chair because it's still here. It's still here. We'll be live
He's
if,
just sitting.
yeah,
He's just sitting still at the moment.
exactly. Any aurora possible tonight? Well, Joey, good question. I haven't checked the aurora
I have
board
not
today.
looked at the aurora conditions today.
We do have just installed today. We'll go back to that camera here. We just got a camera installed by our friends at Guardian Technologies. We partnered with them this year to install a network of cameras across the state. We just got one in today on Lake Huron, which is pointing north over the lake. So we could see some good aurora tonight, maybe on camera. If we do see that, we'll stream it to our second account, Michigan Weather Network, in anticipation of severe weather coverage tonight. We're going to keep our main channel clear. But we do have a camera pointing north now over Lake Huron. So potential, if aurora does happen, we will have a camera on it.
Yeah, probably best chances to see it early if it does make an appearance, because we do have some cloud cover that'll be moving into the state here overnight tonight as well. So, but these cameras will also be here all year long. So, anytime we have a chance, we'll be able to pop those open, and we'll be able to let you know exactly who is seeing it.
Hadley says sunset alert. Go look, y'all. Well, we just had that up on the screen. There's a look at the Burton camera here. Again, it's kind of pointing southward here, so the sunset's really bright on the western horizon. Going back over here to the new camera here at Harbor Beach, got some nice colors on the horizon. Dearborn camera is pretty, it's gone. I'll get it back, but I had the best view of it.
Yeah, a lot of oranges and pinks out there tonight, from what I've seen. So yeah, go out there and take a look. Enjoy it. Enjoy the nice evening tonight too. Maybe a few days before we get widespread 70s like we've had today. So I hope everyone took advantage of it and enjoyed the day today after work.
Will we see where storm chasers are on a map if they aren't live? No, Dorothy, we don't like to do that just for privacy's sake. I will put a post out after we're done here to live stream with everybody who's chasing and their locations, respective locations. Not going to give exacts, but we'll have a post out on our Facebook page that does communicate where our chasers are targeting tonight. I will say we do have one chaser, one of our staff actually, Chandler, is out of state today in Illinois in that moderate risk here. He's going to be waiting for those storms to approach him. We'll have him live on ISCN later this evening, likely as these storms approach Michigan. So most of our chasers are in Michigan. In fact, all of our chasers are in Michigan, minus that one Chandler. He has decided to split for Illinois for the higher risk. Any other questions, guys?
Yeah, again, as a quick recap here, this will be a nocturnal threat tonight. Storms look to enter portions of Michigan right around that 1 to 2 a.m. time frame here tonight. Again, they'll be strongest across southwest lower Michigan, Berrien County and surrounding counties, and then they'll quickly progress eastward overnight tonight. Again, moving through central Michigan right around the 5 to 7 a.m. time frame, and then exiting the state by 8 to 10 a.m. tomorrow morning. Damaging winds, primary risk, followed by a brief spin up tornado, primarily across southwest lower Michigan. There's a risk there. Level 1 out of 5 in green, that's your marginal risk. Level 2 out of 5 in yellow, that's your slight risk. And then far southwest Berrien County is in a level 3 out of 5 or an enhanced risk, just as the storms are expected to be a little bit stronger as they enter the corner of Michigan before gradually weakening as they move north and east. Again, not a significant risk tonight, but a risk nonetheless. So do be prepared for damaging wind gusts tonight, 60 plus miles an hour, or perhaps a significant gust of 70 miles an hour, generally confined to southwest lower Michigan and the yellow and orange zones down there.
I see a couple comments here asking how chasers are going to be brought into our stream. We have a couple scenes here. Those are all of our chasers who plan to be out this evening. So we have quite a bit of scenes here. We also have ability to take full, so we can go individual as well. For example, I know Drew in chat here. We'll have a camera for him. We got Ben as well. We got Chris. We have our usual. Everybody's gonna be chasing tonight. We'll have them on stream here with us, so no worries there.
Yep. So we'll have eyes on the ground, and then Ryan will be here on radar here tonight, keeping you updated both on the ground and on radar.
Any briefing for tomorrow? So tomorrow afternoon's briefing will likely occur Saturday morning. So tomorrow morning. So the plan here, Caleb, this is the general plan. We're going to be live.
Plans may change, but
we're going to be live pretty much all night. We're expecting to be either live or monitoring together all night. We're probably going to do a briefing sometime tomorrow before noon. We're probably going to try and get a nap in sometime tomorrow, and then prepare for round 2 tomorrow afternoon. So it's going to be a very, very back-to-back-to-back type of situation.
You said the nap word, so now storms are going to fire during my nap time, and it's not going to happen now that you said that.
Yeah, I don't know. But we're going to try and get our nap in here. But yeah, we are probably going to do a briefing tomorrow morning for if there's going to be a Saturday afternoon and evening threat. We'll cover it tomorrow.
Yep. Nonetheless, we'll keep you guys updated. We'll post updates on the page. Again, it's more of a conditional risk tomorrow, which is why we're not going in the grave detail, just because there's a lot of variables yet to be figured out. And a lot of that is determined on round 1, which is yet to enter the state of Michigan. So once round 1 moves through, gets out of here, we'll have a lot better idea. And the forecast models will too, especially the numerical models or mathematical models. They'll have a better interpretation of the atmosphere once we get round 1 out of the state. So then we'll focus on the ingredients that we have in place compared to what guidance is showing, and we'll have a much better idea. But again, marginal risks, nonetheless. Possible upgrades are possible to slight if we see those better ingredients do make an appearance. It is possible, not out of the question. But again, a lot of that is a conditional risk depending on atmospheric recovery and the exact setup that we have tomorrow. So still some things to be figured out for that.
All right, guys. Any other questions here? We've been live for about 45 minutes. If you guys are just tuning in, feel free to go back to the first about 10 or 15 minutes of the stream. We cover everything in detail for you guys. So that'd be where I direct you if you have any questions, any further questions regarding the threat tonight, or perhaps Saturday afternoon as well. But Caleb and I need to hop out of here, do our evening job duties, and then try and get a power nap in before we go live later on this evening. So with that being said, I think we're going to pop out of here. So if you have any last questions, drop them in chat here. While you guys do that, I want to give a shout out to today's spotlight sponsor, which is going to be Kuiper Tree Care, based out of the Grand Rapids area. For all your tree care needs, 616-828-8225. Thank you to Kuiper Tree Care for sponsoring today's video. We also have other sponsors who keep us rocking and rolling here. We have Stormguard Roofing and Construction. We have Pro Powder. We have Mike Hayes Roofing and Siding. McKay Tree Specialist. We have Lifestyle Exteriors, Katz Roofing and Siding, Gull Lake Tree Pro, FBI Buildings, as well as numerous others who have joined recently. We don't have banners for it yet. We also have Guardian Technologies I can mention. I also have a few others as well. We'll get them in here and rolling once we get some free time. But overall, that's your concern for the evening. Those are the sponsors. I think we're going to be ready to roll the outro here soon. Let's look at chat one more time here.
Again, brief synopsis for you guys joining in. Again, late night threat tonight. Storms are going to enter this threat. We'll go ahead and run by radar one more time here before we hop off. Again, storms look to enter the state of Michigan right around the 1 to 2 a.m. time frame. There we are at 4 a.m. right there, or I guess 3 a.m. right there. There's 4 a.m. And then we go to 5 a.m., 6 a.m., and 7 a.m. right there. And again, storms look to exit the state right around that 7 to 9 a.m. time frame, with the strongest of the storms expected in southwest lower. But we could have gusty winds from the southern UP and outward lying areas as well. But again, severe weather is the best chance for severe weather would be across southwest lower in areas shaded in yellow and orange. But there could be a stronger to severe storm locally in areas shaded in green. So with that being said here, guys, any other questions here before we hop off? Again, like Ryan mentioned, we have a few things to do here behind the scenes before tonight. And then we're probably going to get a power nap in before we pull an all-nighter. So
looking forward to it.
Oh, absolutely.
Let's take one last look at our sky cams here. Sponsored by Guardian Technologies. There's Dearborn Sunset finally getting a set there. We also have the Burton camera here facing south, and our newly added Harbor Beach camera facing north here. This is going to be the one to watch Aurora on. I'm super excited about this one. So
Yeah, really pretty view there over the lake.
hopefully the clouds clear out. There's a lot of high level clouds here, so not a best view right now for the evening, but we'll
Yeah.
see. These will also be live tonight for any storms that roll our way. So lightning, perhaps even some structure shots on these storms. Each camera is like a stationary storm chaser. So we're super excited for this. As always,
Yep.
thank you to Guardian for doing this for us. We have many more exciting camera locations and camera views to come for you guys. So with that being said,
Absolutely.
we are going to wrap up here and we're going to get going here on the evening duties, forecasts, and stuff like that for the evening and also for tomorrow morning. So with that being said, thank you guys for tuning in. We're going to go ahead and roll the outro. And again, if anything goes live tonight, or I think anything goes severe warning tonight, we'll be live here at Michigan Storm Chasers on YouTube, Facebook, X, and Twitch. You guys enjoy, stay safe, and make sure you have a way or multiple ways to receive warnings in the event your location in Michigan receives one tonight. Catch you guys later.